This is a sign that's never been seen in Cuba before. It's advertising free Wi-Fi. Day and night, dozens of young Cubans come to this cultural center in a Havana suburb to discover how to log on and then spend hours sitting around online. And almost everyone, it seems, is on Facebook.
¿Se usa mucho Facebook?
Facebook.
Facebook. Hacemos amistad en Facebook, es lo que se viene a hacer aquí.
So many Cubans have friends and relatives living abroad. Suddenly, with the internet, they can stay in touch and reach out and discover new friends around the world.
Wi-Fi es muy importante para la sociedad porque podemos tener conocimientos, podemos revisar el Facebook, tener amistades, estar comunicados con el mundo.
The cultural center is run by a famous Cuban sculptor called Cacho. His works sell for tens of thousands of dollars abroad, and he's personally funding the free Wi-Fi. Most people on the island still have no access to the internet, but Cubans are masters of invention, and they've come up with all sorts of creative ways to get around the problem. And at the heart of it all is the external hard drive. Like most Cubans, Lisandra Alapon doesn't have internet at home, but she does have a computer and an external hard disk. Every week she subscribes to a download offering hundreds of pirated films, magazines and software.
Well, I give my hard disk to a person and I leave it there for a couple of hours. It can be 3 or 4. And then I go back and pick it with the whole package.
It's called the weekly package and is available all over the island. Lisandra Alapon pays the equivalent of $2 a time for this offline internet, which is rapidly replacing local television.
Well, I watch the soap operas, also different kinds of films, and the Latin shows. Because there are many in which we can see Cuban actors who are living abroad. Also, my boyfriend, for instance, he prefers sports, mainly the Spanish league. And the good thing is that I copy the paquete, but I can give it to my grandma, which also watches, my boyfriend, my brother, my sister, my stepfather. I can also give it to a person at work, which I do, so it's like a chain.
There's no single person or organization putting the weekly package together. Rather, it's a loose-knit grouping across the country. With Cuba under the US trade embargo, the authorities here regularly ignore copyright issues. Victor Fowler is an author and cultural critic who's charted the growing popularity and impact of the weekly package.
El paquete, ¿qué cosa es? Uno de los fenómenos culturales más significativos que ha ocurrido en este país. Después de la revolución para acá, uno de los fenómenos más grandes, el paquete.
How has the government reacted to it?
Las estructuras que nos rodean siguen atadas a la idea de que hay un centro productor de los contenidos y que es el que controla los contenidos que se producen. Esas autoridades, y por motivos particulares de la historia cubana, todavía tienen que descubrir de que hoy prácticamente cualquiera puede producir y colocar contenidos a circular gracias a cualquier cosa, porque se puede filmar con una tableta, con un celular, con una camarita chiquitica. O sea, el intercambio de mensajes ha cambiado.
The arrival of the weekly package is also encouraging greater creativity, with people posting material as well as downloading it. Joel La Jota, as he's known, is songwriter and leader of a Cuban reggaeton band called Los Metálicos.
Tú puedes ser el tipo que tenga el hit más duro que haya en La Habana, o en Cuba, o en cualquier lugar del universo. Si la gente no sabe que tú estás ahí o que tú existes, la gente no te ve. Entonces las cosas hay que darle promoción.
Local reggaeton bands don't get much airtime on state-run radio or television, and without the internet, they can't post their music online. so they're producing their own videos to circulate on the weekly package.
Uno tiene que adaptarse a donde está, ¿entiendes? En otros lugares hay Facebook, hay YouTube, hay Instagram, hay 1000 medios de eso. En Cuba lo que está es el paquete, presentarse, y donde uno vive tiene que hacer las cosas como son, como funcionan en ese lugar.
And it isn't just musicians who are taking advantage of this offline internet. The package is proving so popular that it's attracting advertising from Cuba's new private businesses. Click on the Spanish edition of Marie Claire and there are adverts for local restaurants and photographic studios. There is no political material or links included in the package, and while it's not an authorized business, so far the government hasn't tried to stop it. According to official Cuban figures, about a quarter of the population has access to the internet, though mainly to state-approved sites on an internal intranet at work. The majority of Cubans are still not allowed connections at home. Today, there are a growing number of official internet salons. This one opened just a few weeks ago. It costs the equivalent of a week's wages for a couple of hours online, but demand is such that there are always queues outside. For years, Cuba has blamed the lack of internet on the US trade embargo, which blocked access to the big undersea fiber optic cables, but that's about to change. Now, the Cuban government says it's committed to expanding the web into half of all homes by 2020. Yet there is one unofficial e-business website that's already taken the country by storm and claims to have 5 million page visits a month. Before Tahili Diaz's baby was born, she went in search of all the things a mother wants to raise her child, but found little in the shops. Then a friend told her about an unofficial classified advertisement website called Revolico. It's similar to Craigslist or Alibaba. What have you bought on Revolico?
El coche.
You bought the baby buggy.
La bañera.
And the baby bath. Could you buy these in the shops?
Cuando estaba embarazada no había.
There weren't any in the shops when you were pregnant, so it was your only option. What about in the bedroom? What have you bought there?
Y el aire acondicionado.
The air conditioning, second hand.
Y el escaparate.
So it's the children's wardrobe, second hand as well?
De segunda mano también.
For Tahili Diaz, Revolico has revolutionized shopping in a country where the state controls most retail outlets and there are constant shortages.
Antes de no existir Revolico, uno decía, me hace falta un escaparate, y algún vecino o alguna amistad en el trabajo decía, bueno, yo conozco a alguien, pero bueno, ya ahora con Revolico sí hay mejor accesibilidad a las cosas que son útiles para el hogar.
Mrs. Diaz has no internet, but she knows someone who does. Revolico is also widely circulated hand-to-hand on the weekly package. The government blocks the website, but Cubans are masters of finding ways around it. It's a huge site. There's a whole section on computer parts, another where you can buy and sell everything from televisions to cars and houses. It's also where the island's new private businesses advertise themselves. This new beauty salon opened just 6 months ago. It's a competitive market. Since the government allowed people to work for themselves, hundreds of private hairdressers have appeared throughout Havana. The owner, Deborah Rodriguez, decided to advertise on Revolico, and she's pleased with the results.
Una de las cosas que nosotros hacemos cuando llegan los clientes aquí, precisamente para saber qué es lo que nos está dando más resultados, es preguntarle por qué medio nos ha conocido, y sí, mucha gente han venido por Revolico.
It's proved so successful that Revolico now faces competition of its own from other online selling sites. Even before most Cubans have their own access to the internet, the first signs of e-business are starting to appear. And with the weekly package, tens of thousands of Cubans are downloading whatever they want to watch or creating material of their own to post on Cuba's offline internet.